Alright, for this class, we're going to talk about the third type of interpersonal communication goals, which is instrumental goals. And we've said earlier, instrumental goals involve persuasion, or you want to put some influence on others' attitudes or behaviors. So for this topic, we're going to focus on two specific instrumental goals. The first one is sometimes we want to change others' behaviors, such as we want to borrow Max's car, or we want to persuade others to adopt a healthy lifestyle by eating more blueberries, eating less red meat, etc. So for this situation, we want to change others' behaviors. We're talking about seeking compliance or compliance gaining. The second instrumental goal we're going to cover today is sometimes we want to influence or we want to affect or change others' perceptions towards us. So in this situation, we got to come up something to defend ourselves when our behaviors are questionable or are being questioned by other people. That is self-defense. So let's first look at the first type of instrumental goal, which is seeking compliance. So first, let's define it. Of course, it is one type of instrumental goal because it involves some persuasion on other people's behaviors. So by definition, seeking compliance is any action designed to induce a target individual to perform some desired behaviors that the target otherwise will not perform. Well, let me give you some examples in our real life, such as asking for a favor. Could you please turn down your music a little bit? And this task, or this seeking compliance task or goal, is relatively easy to accomplish. But if you can make this request in a polite way, I believe that this task can be easily accomplished. But sometimes life is not that easy, and some tasks or some instrumental goals are hard to accomplish. For example, you are so sick that your roommate never washed the dishes. And whenever you go home, you see the piles of dishes in the kitchen sink. And one day you finally kind of got enough of it. You want to talk with your roommate. So for this situation, I would say this instrumental goal or this compliance seeking goal becomes a little bit hard to accomplish because at this moment you've got some emotions such as anger. So you can easily lose your temper and ruin the relationship with your roommate. So we can say that for some instrumental goals, if you have some relational concerns, this secondary goal or secondary concerns, it is a little bit hard. You got to put some effort to accomplish this goal in a more appropriate way. And if you still remember the typical conversation I have with my dad about persuading him to lose weight, to get more exercise, I would say this instrumental goal is extremely hard for me to accomplish. Well, first, it is such a long-term project. I got to keep persuading him to, keep active and live a healthy lifestyle. And second, I can feel my dad, he has a strong resistance against this suggestion, against these recommended behaviors. So I would say for this situation, I've got a really hard task. So let's talk about this seeking compliance and what kind of things we could do to make our message more convincing, more effective. So I want to first talk about what kind of message components we want to have there to make our message more strategic, more effective. Well, usually there are three components that a persuader might want to address in the message. So they are the concerns. Second one is control. The third one is scrutiny. So I'll give you guys an example as I explain each of these three components. So get back to the example that my dad, he was being forced or being, persuaded by me to have more exercise, have a better lifestyle. So how do I kind of craft this message to persuade him to do that? Well, first I communicate, well, your health status is really important to yourself, to me, and to our family. So this is the first component I want to have in my message to make it more appealing and more persuading. So the point here is I want to show my concern. I want to show the importance of my dad's health to him. So for this message, I'm communicating my concern. That is the first message component. We want to have in a message to make it strategic and powerful. And I do not only communicate my concern, I also kind of put some stress on him. And I would say, well, if you don't, you have committed to this exercise and healthy lifestyle. And if you don't adopt it, or if you don't do what you have promised, I'm going to ask my mom to look over you. And if you don't do that, you will be punished by my mom, and she will take away all your candies, and you are not allowed to play the video games. So that is the second component I want to deliver to my dad, which is control. So basically, I'm saying that I'm trying to stress the authority. Well, I of course don't have any authority or superiority over my dad, but my mom, she has. So I'm using my mom as an authority to put some stress, to put some power over my dad. And that is the second component we could have in a message, which is control. So the basic message here for this control component is, I'm superior to you, and I have the authority and the power over you to punish you if you don't obey, if you don't listen. And last one is something we do. It is a behavior thing, or it is an action thing. So my mom, so whenever my dad, he wants to go out for a walk, my mom would just follow him and monitor whether my dad can have this 1 hour of workout or walking every day. So basically, scrutiny is people follow up on this behavior. Okay? People are performing some actual actions to monitor this target behavior. Okay, those are the three components you may want to have in your message to make it more powerful, make it more effective. So here I want to show you guys a real example, a real message delivered by this Yosemite or created by this Yosemite National Park to address an issue. So Yosemite National Park is a very beautiful park in California in the United States. And it has lots of, feature spots, such as this half dome. And another feature is its wildlife. It has lots of bears. But sometimes this bear can be a disaster because this is what happens in the park. So bears are getting into people's cars, into people's tents. They are out there stealing for food, and sometimes it destroys things. So they can be a disaster. So the Yosemite National Park, their management office, they cannot really persuade a bear not to steal people's food. But what they can do is to persuade the visitors to change their behaviors, to protect themselves and also protect the bear. So their concern is they want to ask people to store their food properly, to not leave it in the open air. So what the management office did is they created some messages to deliver to get these points across to their visitors. So next, I'm gonna show you guys some screenshot. I found a video on their YouTube channel. So I took some screenshots of this YouTube video, and let's take a look whether this video has these three components in their message. So the first one is the first thing they communicate in their message is this concern. So basically, they cite bears cause tens of thousands of dollars in property damage each year. So basically, they're saying that this issue is really important. And if you leave your food open and accessible to bears, it will cause lots of problems. And bears will pay the price for people's mistakes. And of course, we also put ourselves into a dangerous place because bears can attack people. And if you walk around in the park, you can see these yellow warnings everywhere telling people that this could be a big issue. You got to pay attention to this issue. So this is the first component or information delivered in this message, that is to draw people's attention to the importance of this issue. So raise people's awareness. And second one is control. That is, they are telling the visitors that they have the authority and the power to give people punishments and penalties. So how did this video communicate to this point? Well, they say you can be fined and your car can be towed away for improper food storage. So basically, they're saying that if you don't obey these rules or policies, you will get punishment. And last one is this scrutiny, that is the actual behavior to monitor people's behaviors, to follow up on these suggested or recommended behaviors. So we can see that in this video, the rangers are in the parking lot checking people's cars to see whether they left their food open. And again, if you are walking in the park, you can see the rangers, they are kind of everywhere, riding a horse or walking to check on this behavior, to check people's cars. So these are the three components if we want to make our message more powerful. And here is an exercise if you want to do that. So let's say the Webster University has a big issue that people do not return their books to the library on time. So and you are managing this library. So I would like you guys to come up with a message to persuade people to return their books on time. Okay, so what would your message look like? How are you gonna design or craft this message if you want to include these three components? So think about this exercise. You don't need to post anything. It's just kind of a thinking exercise. Try to make use of these three components we've just discussed.